I'm assuming the plane started when I hit the curb on impact.
A breakthrough surgery that has never been successful until now.
His face and hands used to belong to someone else.
First ever successful face
and double hand transplant.
What did they say to you exactly?
You might not make it.
I definitely have a lot of lucid dreams about like my old face. I never really had dreams about the burnt face. I don't know why. But I do have dreams of my old face. And then I also had dreams of what I think I'll look like in the future. I moved out of my parents' house at 18 years old, bought my own car. It was a little bit out of my budget, but I was like, you know what? I could afford it now. When I got my headers, I just did it for the noise. I didn't really care about the horsepower, nothing like that. I like something raw, do my own thing, hang out with friends. I was living on, a dream. One day, I was golfing with my dad. My job called me while I was golfing. He said, hey, you want to come in overtime? I was like, yeah, why not? Went home, slept for 5 hours, which I thought that was normal. Clocked in, did my nighttime shift, 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning. I don't remember clocking in or out. I just know I did that. It was 10 minutes away from my apartment. 10 minutes, what's 10 minutes? Fell asleep at the wheel, and my car could go to the side of the road, hit a curb, landed on the roof of my car caught on fire because of the headers. The reason why the headers caught fire is because it hangs lower than the stock headers. It actually scraped the curb, create sparks, and the oil pan cracked. And then a good Samaritan jumped over the barrier, pulled me out. My shirt was halfway burnt. My hair was not burned. Not even my socks was burned. So my feet isn't burnt. I still had skin on my feet. I had a Fendi belt on. Pretty mad when I woke up from a coma. Mom told me you had to cut your belt off. And I was in a coma for 3.5 months. You can hear people. It's all dreams, but they're mostly bad dreams. Because when they take you into the tank room where they wash you off, take off all the bandages, that's not fun. You can feel the pain. So you're dreaming about pain. They're not meaning it towards you. They're just taking out the bandages, but it still hurts. Everyone asks me, do you experience the afterlife? The only thing I experienced is me walking my dog. He passed away in 2012, 2013. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm assuming this is the afterlife, just me walking my dog down an endless hill. First thing when I woke up from the coma, the first thing I asked my mom was, how are the rooms in my car? She says, oh, Joe, they're gone. The nurses come running in because they heard my voice, so they come running in, and all the nursing stuff, they just bombarded me, and they're just touching me, vitals, if I'm in pain. My mom had to leave the room because it was just too hectic. And then my dad explained the accident to me. I just think she couldn't do it because, it's a mom. When everything was different was the next morning when the doctors came in and they told me we had to amputate your fingertips down to the second knuckle. Your eyelids are burnt off. You can't open your mouth fully no more. You're also 80% burned. So like Freddy Krueger. He's like, yeah, basically like him. I was like, oh, okay. And
You're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want a lot of drugs, so it's you're not fully there. I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm just gonna heal up. I just probably gonna look bad. Freddy Krueger, he's mobile, his hands move. But in reality, when you're burned, you can't move like that. It took about 10 minutes just for me to sit up on the edge of the bed. And then just to stand up for the first time, it felt like I walked 5 miles. At that point, I was like, well, there goes my life. That's it, I'm done. 2 months after rehab, I had no more healthy skin to do skin grafts on. I went back to my Jersey plastic surgeon. He was like, there's nothing else I can do for you. But he's like, I know this doctor in New York City. They're looking to do a face and double hand transplant. He said there's 2 before me. The first one passed on the table, and the second one, the hands failed. So that was the first thing he said, this can fail. But going to any surgery, you can die. So that didn't bother me at all. You're gonna die anyways. Might as well die trying to be independent again, live my life. How they stitched me up was just a patch up, It wasn't forever. I don't want to live on my parents' couch the rest of my life either, because I could go blind in the long run. And on top of that, When I go blind, I can't use Braille because I can't feel with my fingertips. So I went blind and then lived on my parents' couch the rest of my life, watching their TV, using their electric bill, all that junk. I moved out for a reason, to live my own life, and they lived their life. They're done raising me. They did their job as parents. Like, my mom basically became a mom again. I'm not a mom, but I'm assuming you kind of don't want to do that after your kid turns 18. You want to do your own life. And then who's going to take care of me when my parents die? The surgery was 23 hours long. A lot of doctors were involved. I think a total of 86. They cut off my burnt face around the hairline, behind the ears. I think they really connected behind the ears, a lot of scar tissue there, down around the neck. They put the donor face on. They had to reconnect it, like all the veins, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons. They put 2 metal plates in my cheekbone so it wouldn't sag. And with the hands, they basically cut, like right here, reattached all the veins, ligaments, nerve systems. And then I was sedated for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I woke up from my surgery, eyes were swollen shut, so it was just black, but I'm awake. And I'm in a lot of pain because the nerve pains are shooting. It felt like cats clawing at my palms. My parents were there, both of them were there at the time, but I couldn't see them. I couldn't see them for about like 2 weeks. My eyes were swollen shut. I was not allowed to touch my face, and I listened. The first time in my life I listened to someone. Before my accident, I was super independent. I had to restart my life at 20 years old. I'm still learning how to change how I do things. Every day is a different learning day.
We met April 1st of 2021. I found out about Joe through one of my nursing school professors. I remember looking at the picture of him, right, before and after, and thinking, dang, that sucks. He was a handsome guy, but that's all I thought. Then I watched a documentary that his hospital released. The one thing that I was captivated by Joe was when he said that he wanted the hand so he could go back to work. So it wasn't even, oh, I want a face so that I look normal again, or so that people would stop staring at me. He wanted hands so that he could go back to work. And I just was like, oh, like that's like so sweet. So after watching that, I followed him on Instagram.
And one day I'm just like chilling at my parents' house, going through my followers, and I saw Jessica and her dog. He's a Boston Terrier. To have a Boston Terrier, you have to have like a certain personality. So I DM'd her saying, I like your dog.
The first thing he said was, I like your dog. We started texting. We started FaceTiming. When it was starting to get flirtatious, I was like, should I go for it? Should I not? Right? Because at that time I was 30 and he's 8 years younger. So he was 22. I remember telling one of my coworkers at the time, who I thought was cool, her first thing she told me was, why would you do that? You know what's going to happen. These transplant patients don't live that long, and he's going to be in the hospital. Obviously, I didn't listen to her. and he just pursued my relationship with Joe. We met in person 3 weeks after. I was going to be closer to him, so I said, hey, I'm going to be in Philadelphia.
So she came up to my parents' house. Her dog, Kirkland, I think helped break the ice,
I'm not used to going to someone's parents' house anymore, but I had to go to his mom and dad's house.
Which I'm sure that was awkward for her, because first of all, you're meeting someone that looks like me. So I know that's awkward.
I wasn't nervous or scared about Joe's situation because I worked in organ and tissue procurement, so I was surrounded by tissue donation, transplant, organ donation.
She's seen a lot worse than me. She also worked in the coroner's office back in LA, so she's seen a lot worse. That's something me and her can connect on too. Things like that doesn't traumatize me or affect me. So she can talk about work. So I was kind of awkward at first, The first thing I said to her is, you look a lot smaller in person. To me, that's a compliment. I would say if someone said I look skinnier in person, oh, thank you.
And we had dinner, we played pool. I just felt so comfortable with Joe. And when we hugged for the first time, we just had a connection. It didn't feel forced at all. And then he was being very flirty. He was like, why don't you just sit on my lap? And I was like, okay, right? Because you don't expect this from Joe, because he's quiet, he seems shy, and then he said, sit on my lap.
A lot of people online say, how did he pull it? I'm 6'1", being 6'1" helps, but you also have to have a little confidence. Girls like confidence.
So I sat on his lap and we kissed, and I remember it being different, right? It's not his face. He can't control his lips like he used to be able to control his lips, so it was definitely a different type of kiss.
Then, she left. As soon as she left, she started texting again.
I think it's harder to meet people nowadays that are going to be genuine and have true intentions. I just knew that I wanted to spend more time with him.
After a year was up with her job, she wanted to do a travel nurse. I thought I'd just be in Jersey, you know, never traveled, never had the idea to travel, you know. But then Jessica came in, like, you know, there's more than Jersey. I'm traveling now because of Jessica. I proposed September 7th, 2024. I'm not romantic, so I said, just will you marry me? December 5th, we eloped in Hawaii. I never in my life thought I would say that.
I see Joe and I starting a family. I think when you love someone and you find someone that you want to be with, you just want to see what someone would look like that's a little bit of you and a little bit of them. Maybe acts like me but looks like Joe, or, you know, vice versa.
Because of Jessica, I want to be a dad. I think every guy can say that, like, after they find that right person. Maybe some guys want to be a dad before a relationship, but that was not me.
We're excited. I mean, it's nerve-wracking. With social media, people are quick to judge me and my relationship with Joe. You know, I'm a gold digger. I have Florence Nightingale syndrome. I have a fetish. Joe can handle it really well, but, you know, women have different feelings, different emotions. I handle it differently than he does.
They're going to judge you for 5 seconds and move on with their lives. So I'm not going to let their 5 seconds judgment affect my life and how I live. Not hold anything back, because in the beginning, I held back a lot of stuff. It's not a perfect surgery, and I was making a perfect surgery in the beginning. But then I realized, you know what, let me be real, like actually real. Putting my story out there to motivate people to get out of their funky days and the cloudy days. Didn't realize my story can actually save, you know, life. It's like a double-edged sword. It sucks. I got into an accident. I lost 80% of my skin, and I had someone else's face and hands on me. But then I also found out my life partner. And if I wouldn't have had that accident, I'd probably still be a cocky 26-year-old. I would prefer not to be burned, but I like my life now. Just because I have Jessica around.